Hi guys, Muskan Agarwal here again. So in last video we have discussed about data tier that added to our three-tier architecture. Right now we have seen client, server, and database. Like we have one server, we have one database. It's a good use case. Like it's a good architecture if we have very small amount of users, like 100, not even 100, maybe 10-50 users are interacting with the system. It's just like my friends are using my system. So it's like the three-tier architecture, I would say, is the best form of a system I could have. Right, I have hosted locally and everything. Now as my system grows, like it gets popularity and more users are interacting with my system, this architecture won't work. It will completely crash. Right, one server won't be able to handle multiple requests. Not even 1,000 to 1,000 maybe easily they could, but as it grows it won't be able to handle multiple read and write requests. Not even my database, as the user data grows, or as any data grows, my database won't be able to handle that amount of data. It has certain hard limit on it. Same with the server. In that case we sense a need to scale our system. Like we have to make our system quite bigger. Right, we either have to scale them, like either I can just edit, or I can just increase the computational power or the capacity of my system. Like for example, if in my server I could increase the computation of my server or the configs of my server. As of now I'm just using I would say 2-core CPU. I could increase them to 6-core or 8-core something. And for the storage, like if as of now I'm just using 8 GB of RAM, I could increase them to 16 or 32 GB. But there is a hard limit to it. I can just go on adding more and more core and more RAM. No, I can't. At certain point, beyond that I can't add to their configs. Right, there's a hard limit to it. In that case, what I have to do, what is the best way to scale my system? I have to add multiple servers to my system. Right, I have to add multiple databases, or I have to shard, like I have to divide my database into multiple shards or partitions. I'll cover the sharding and partitioning later on, because these are like deep concepts which we have to cover. We'll go through them later on in the video. But yeah, there I have to add more databases, replicating and everything. That is like scaling is of two types. There is a vertical scaling and there is a horizontal scaling. Right, so vertical scaling, as I was saying, we can expand the config of an existing system. I could add more core CPU, I could add more RAM to it. Right, horizontal scaling, I could add more and more servers or databases to my existing system. Right, so how it is done? Like as of now you have understood this one. This is basically a three-tier architecture which could be horizontally scaled up, vertically scaled up. Like I can increase the config or the computational power of my server. Instead of 2-core CPU, I'll move towards 4, 6, 8-core CPU. Right, and for the RAM, same way. For the database also, I could just increase the capacity that it could hold this much terabytes or petabytes of data. After a certain point, it will also give up. I can't do more. Right, in that case we will move towards horizontal scaling. In that case, what we do is, there is a client. Right, there are multiple servers added to the web tier layer. This is server 1, this is server 2, and this is server 3. Right, similarly for the database or data tier layer, there are multiple databases I will add. DB1, database 1, database 2, and database 3. This is web tier, this is data tier, this is the client. It will interact. Right, so it will help us like whenever my traffic is growing, I'll use this form of scaling. This is known as scaling out. And the upper form of this one is known as scaling up. This 2-core CPU, increasing the existing config of a system, that is known as scaling up. मतलब try to understand it in this way कि एक ही चीज को तुम बड़ा बना रहे हो तो it is scaling up, और तुम एक काम के लिए बहुत सारे लोग ला रहे हो, you are adding a more and more power to it. Like efforts to it, more and more workers you are adding to that doing that particular task. That is scaling out. एक ही इंसान अभी तक एक काम कर रहा था, now you are adding more and more people to do that particular task to be done easily and मतलब faster and easily, let's say. So that is scaling out. Scaling up, एक ही सिस्टम की एग्जिस्टिंग कैपेसिटी को बढ़ा देना. स्केलिंग आउट, एक ही सिस्टम के जैसे और मल्टीपल सिस्टम्स ऐड कर देना उस टियर या उस लेयर में. ठीक है. नाउ अगेन ईच एंड एवरीथिंग हैज इट्स प्रोस एंड कॉन्स, राइट. फॉर वर्टिकल स्केलिंग, pros would be it's easy to maintain, right? Maybe cost effective also we can say. And yeah, cons would be again single point of failure would be there. There would be a hard limit after which you can't scale up, right? Now coming to the horizontal scaling, most of the organizations rely, like almost all systems are rely on horizontal scaling. They scale their system horizontally itself. Okay, fine. So horizontal scaling mein pros would be it's easily scalable. You can scale in and scale out. Like you can add servers, you can remove servers easily, right? No single point of failure. But cons would be it would add more cost to your system, existing system, and again lot of maintenance is required. You will have to make sure that how requests are redirected to your servers, and when you scale in or scale out, how each data is maintained and everything. Now coming to the cost part, each and every server is hosted somewhere, either on instance, cloud, virtual machines, or anything. Each and every server has a cost. If locally there is no cost, right? If I just go on and host my server on local host 8,000 or 3,000 something, there will be no cost to it. But as my user, as my traffic grows, I have to host the server on some actual instance, on an actual machine. That will add, like each server has a certain cost to it. The computation cost, the storage cost, retention, replication, data transfer, each and everything has a cost, right? So that is what I meant by adding up the cost and everything, right? So that is the concept of scaling. You can scale in, like you can remove servers, scale out, you can add servers to your system, you can scale up, you can scale down your system. Means you can expand the configs of your system, you can downgrade the existing system, right? So these are the concept of scaling. They apply both to the server layer, the web tier layer, as well as the data tier, the database layer. I hope you understood it. If you have any queries, please drop in the comment section. Thank you. That's all.